Question 1. Scenario-based. John, a licensed insurance producer in Louisiana, is currently facing a potential suspension of his license due to an accusation of misrepresentation when selling a homeowner's insurance policy. According to the Louisiana Department of Insurance regulations, what action must John take to address the suspension notice and protect his ability to operate as a licensed insurance professional? A. Immediately stop all insurance sales and file an appeal within 30 days with the Department of Insurance. B. Continue selling insurance but disclose the pending suspension to all clients within 60 days. C. File a written request for a hearing with the Department of Insurance within 30 days from the notice. D. Notify his insurer about the suspension and await further instructions before taking any action. Answer. C. File a written request for a hearing with the Department of Insurance within 30 days from the notice. Explanation. Under Louisiana insurance regulations, when a producer receives a notice of suspension, they have the right to request a hearing within a specified time frame, typically 30 days, to contest the suspension. This hearing allows the producer to present their case and potentially avoid disciplinary action. Option A is incorrect because the producer is allowed to request a hearing rather than immediately halting business. Option B is incorrect because pending suspensions are not required to be disclosed to clients. Option D is incorrect because notifying the insurer does not replace the legal requirement to request a hearing. Reference Louisiana Insurance Code Title 22, Section 1142. Question 2. In a standard Louisiana personal auto policy PAP, which of the following coverages would provide compensation for medical expenses incurred by the driver or passengers after an auto accident, regardless of fault? A. Bodily injury liability coverage. B. Medical payments coverage. C. Uninsured motorist coverage. D. Property damage liability coverage. Answer. B. Medical payments coverage. Explanation. Medical payments coverage, often referred to as MedPay in a personal auto policy, provides for the payment of medical expenses for the driver and passengers in the insured vehicle regardless of who is at fault for the accident. It covers reasonable and necessary medical costs arising from the accident. Option A is incorrect because bodily injury liability only covers third-party injuries. Option C is incorrect because uninsured motorist coverage applies when the insured is involved in an accident with an uninsured or underinsured driver. Option D is incorrect because property damage liability covers damage to another person's property but not medical costs. Reference Louisiana Revised Statutes, Chapter 22, Section 1295. Question 3. A business owner in Louisiana is considering purchasing an umbrella liability policy. Which of the following best describes how this policy functions in relation to the business's existing liability policies? A. Only provides coverage for the specific exclusions of the underlying policies. B. It covers losses above the limits of the underlying policies once those limits are exhausted. C. It replaces all of the existing liability policies with a higher limit. D. It provides coverage for physical property damage only, not liability. Answer. B. It covers losses above the limits of the underlying policies once those limits are exhausted. Explanation. An umbrella liability policy provides additional coverage that extends beyond the limits of the insured's underlying policies, such as commercial general liability (CGL) or auto insurance. It acts as an excess policy, stepping in to pay once the underlying policy's limit has been reached. Option A is incorrect because the umbrella policy does not only cover exclusions, it covers additional liability exposure. Option C is incorrect because it does not replace the existing policies but supplements them. Option D is incorrect because umbrella insurance extends liability coverage, not physical property damage. Reference Louisiana Insurance Code, Title 22, Section 2092. Question 4. In Louisiana, when determining fault in an accident under a personal auto policy PAP, which of the following legal doctrines may limit the amount of damages a person can recover based on their own percentage of fault? A. Strict liability. B. Comparative negligence. C. Contributory negligence. D. Absolute liability. Answer. B. Comparative negligence. Explanation. Louisiana follows the doctrine of comparative negligence, which means that the damages a person can recover in an accident are reduced by the percentage of fault attributed to them. For example, if a driver is found to be 30% at fault for an accident, they can only recover 70% of the damages. Option A, strict liability, is irrelevant to most auto accident scenarios as it applies to specific situations like product liability or dangerous animals. Option C, contributory negligence, would bar any recovery if the claimant is found even slightly at fault, but this doctrine is not followed in Louisiana. Option D, absolute liability, imposes liability without regard to fault, which is not applicable here. Reference Louisiana Civil Code, Article 2323. Question 5. Scenario-based. Mary owns a small bakery in Louisiana and has a commercial general liability CGL policy. One day, a customer slips on a wet floor and breaks their arm. The customer sues Mary for the medical expenses and lost wages due to the injury. What part of Mary's CGL policy will respond to this claim? A. Coverage A. Bodily injury and property damage liability. B. Coverage B. Personal and advertising injury liability. C. Coverage C. Medical payments. D. Coverage D. Product liability. Answer A. Coverage A. Bodily injury and property damage liability. Explanation. Coverage under a CGL policy covers bodily injury or property damage claims made by third parties. In this scenario, the customer's broken arm and associated expenses would be covered under bodily injury liability. Option B is incorrect because coverage B relates to non-physical injuries like libel or slander. Option C is incorrect because medical payments in a CGL policy provide for immediate medical costs without regard to fault, but the lawsuit for additional damages would be covered under Coverage A. Option D is incorrect because product liability pertains to damages caused by a business's products, not premises-related incidents. Reference by SOCGL Coverage Form, Section I. Coverages. Question 6. Which of the following statements is TRUE regarding the Louisiana Insurance Guarantee Association, LIGA? A. LIGA only provides protection to policyholders with life insurance policies. B. LIGA covers the claims of insolvent insurers up to certain limits for Louisiana residents. C. LIGA does not offer coverage for claims related to property insurance. D. LIGA provides unlimited coverage for all claims regardless of the policy type. Answer B. LIGA covers the claims of insolvent insurers up to certain limits for Louisiana residents. Explanation. The Louisiana Insurance Guarantee Association, LIGA, steps in to cover claims when an insurer becomes insolvent, providing a safety net for policyholders. However, the coverage is subject to certain limits. Option A is incorrect because LIGA covers property and casualty policies, not just life insurance. Option C is incorrect because LIGA covers property insurance claims. Option D is incorrect because LIGA's coverage is not unlimited. It has specific statutory limits. Reference Louisiana Revised Statutes, Title 22, Section 2056. Question 7. Under Louisiana law, what is the minimum amount of liability coverage required for bodily injury per person under a personal auto policy? PAP. A. $10,000. B. $15,000. C. $25,000. D. $30,000. Answer B. $15,000. Explanation. Louisiana law requires that all drivers carry a minimum of $15,000 in liability coverage for bodily injury per person in the event of an accident. This is part of the state's mandatory minimum coverage limits for auto insurance. Option A is incorrect because it falls below the state's minimum requirements. Option C and D are incorrect as they exceed the minimum required limits but may be selected voluntarily by policyholders seeking higher protection. Reference Louisiana Revised Statutes, Title 32, Section 900. Question 8. Which of the following is NOT typically considered an insurable risk under a property and casualty policy in Louisiana? A. Fire damage to a home. B. Flood damage to a home. C. Windstorm damage to a home. D. Theft of personal property from a home. Answer B. Flood damage to a home. Explanation. Flood damage is generally excluded from standard property and casualty policies, including homeowners insurance in Louisiana. To protect against flood risks, homeowners must purchase a separate flood insurance policy, often through the National Flood Insurance Program (NFIP). Fire, windstorm, and theft are standard perils typically covered under homeowners policies. Reference FEMA. National Flood Insurance Program, Louisiana Revised Statutes, Title 22. Question 9. Scenario-based. David is driving his car in Louisiana when he is hit by another driver who does not have insurance. David has uninsured motorist coverage on his policy. What is the most likely outcome when he files a claim for his injuries? A. His insurance will pay for his medical bills, but he must first file a lawsuit against the other driver. B. His uninsured motorist coverage will pay for his injuries up to his policy limit, regardless of the other driver's insurance status. C. His insurance will not cover his injuries because the other driver was uninsured. D is uninsured motorist coverage will only cover property damage, not medical bills. Answer: B is uninsured motorist coverage will pay for his injuries up to his policy limit, regardless of the other driver's insurance status. Explanation: uninsured motorist coverage is designed to protect policyholders if they are injured in an accident with an uninsured driver. In this case, David's coverage will step in to cover his medical expenses up to his policy's limits, as the other driver lacks insurance. Option A is incorrect because he does not need to file a lawsuit for coverage. Option C is incorrect because the purpose of coverage is to protect against uninsured drivers. Option D is incorrect because coverage includes both bodily injury and property damage if elected. Reference: Louisiana Revised Statutes, Title 22, Section 1295. Question 10. In Louisiana, which of the following would not be covered under a commercial general liability CGL policy? A. A customer slips and falls in a store injuring their back. B. A lawsuit for false advertising made by a competitor. C. Employee injury claims from a workplace accident. D. A fire caused by faulty wiring that damages a client's property. Answer: C. Employee injury claims from a workplace accident. Explanation: employee injury claims are typically covered under workers' compensation insurance, not a commercial general liability CGL policy. CGL policies generally cover bodily injury, property damage, and personal and advertising injury claims from third parties, but injuries to employees must be handled through workers' compensation. Options A, B, and D represent situations that could be covered by a CGL policy. Reference: Louisiana Workers' Compensation Law, Title 23 ISO CGL coverage form. Question 11. Under Louisiana's Value Policy Law, VPL, if a total loss occurs to a building insured under a property policy, must the insurer pay A, the actual cash value of the building at the time of loss, B, the replacement cost of the building, regardless of the policy limit, C, the full policy limit for the insured building, D, only a percentage of the building's market value based on depreciation? Answer: C, the full policy limit for the insured building. Explanation: Louisiana's Valued Policy Law (VPL) requires that if an insured building suffers a total loss from a covered peril, the insurer must pay the full amount of the policy's stated limit, regardless of the building's actual cash value or replacement cost. Is protect policyholders by ensuring they receive the coverage they paid for in the event of a total loss. Option A is incorrect because actual cash value involves depreciation, which VPL does not consider in total losses. Option B is incorrect because the policy limit is the maximum payout. Option D does not apply as depreciation is not considered under VPL. Reference: Louisiana Revised Statutes, Title 22, Section 1318. Question 12. Which of the following is not a requirement for forming a valid insurance contract in Louisiana? A. Offer and acceptance. B. Insurable interest. C. Legal purpose. D. Waiver of subrogation. Answer: D. Waiver of subrogation. Explanation: a valid insurance contract requires offer and acceptance, insurable interest, legal purpose, and consideration. Waiver of subrogation is a contractual provision that allows the insured to waive the insurer's right to recover from third parties, but is not required for forming a valid insurance contract. Options A, B, and C are essential elements for a valid contract. Reference: Louisiana Insurance Code. Question 13. In Louisiana, how many days' notice must an insurer give the insured before cancelling a personal auto policy PAP? For non-payment of premium, A. 5 days, B. 10 days, C. 15 days, D. 30 days. Answer: B. 10 days. Explanation: in Louisiana, an insurer must give the insured at least 10 days written notice before cancelling a personal auto policy PAP for non-payment of premium. This provides the insured with an opportunity to pay the overdue premium before coverage is terminated. Option A is too short, while options C and D exceed the statutory requirement. Reference: Louisiana Revised Statutes, Title 22, Section 1267. Question 14. Which of the following perils is typically covered under a standard Louisiana homeowners insurance policy? A. Earthquake. B. Flood. C. Fire. D. War. Answer: C. Fire. Explanation: fire is a standard covered peril under most homeowners insurance policies. Earthquake and flood are typically excluded and require separate coverage, while war is a standard exclusion in nearly all insurance policies. Reference: ISO Homeowners Policies, Section I. perils insured against. Question 15. In Louisiana, under personal auto policy PAP, which of the following coverages would apply if a driver hits a deer? A. Collision coverage. B. Comprehensive coverage. C. Uninsured motorist coverage. D. Liability coverage. Answer: B. Comprehensive coverage. Explanation: comprehensive coverage under personal auto policy PAP covers damage to a vehicle caused by incidents other than collisions, such as theft, vandalism, or hitting an animal like a deer. Option A. Collision coverage only applies to accidents with other vehicles or objects. Options C and D are irrelevant to this scenario. Reference ISOP AP coverage form. Question 16. Which of the following is TRUE about uninsured motorist coverage in Louisiana? A. Is mandatory and cannot be waived. B. It automatically includes underinsured motorist coverage. C. It applies only to property damage claims. D. Policyholders must purchase it separately and in addition to auto insurance. Answer: B. It automatically includes underinsured motorist coverage. Explanation: in Louisiana, uninsured motorist coverage automatically includes underinsured motorist coverage unless specifically rejected in writing by the policyholder. Option A is incorrect because coverage can be waived. Option C is incorrect because coverage applies to bodily injury as well. Option D is misleading as is offered with auto insurance but can be rejected. Reference Louisiana Revised Statutes, Title 22, Section 1295. Question 17. Which of the following statements about workers' compensation in Louisiana is TRUE? A. Workers' compensation covers only medical expenses, not lost wages. B. Workers' compensation is optional for employers in Louisiana. C. Workers' compensation benefits include medical expenses, lost wages, and rehabilitation. D. Workers' compensation only covers injuries that occur off the job. Answer: C. Workers' compensation benefits include medical expenses, lost wages, and rehabilitation. Explanation: in Louisiana, workers' compensation benefits include medical expenses, lost wages, disability benefits, and rehabilitation for workers injured on the job. Option A is incorrect because lost wages are covered. Option B is incorrect because workers' compensation is mandatory for most employers. Option D is incorrect because coverage applies to job-related injuries only. Reference Louisiana Workers' Compensation Act. Question 18. How long does a policyholder in Louisiana have to file a claim for property damage under a standard homeowners policy? A. 30 days. B. 90 days. C. 1 year. D. 3 years. Answer: C. 1 year. Explanation: in Louisiana, a policyholder generally has 1 year from the date of the loss to file a claim for property damage under a standard homeowners policy. This period is known as the prescription period, and after it expires, the claim may be denied. Options A, B, and D do not reflect Louisiana's statute of limitations for property damage claims. Reference Louisiana Civil Code, Article 3492. Question 19. Which of the following is NOT typically covered under Louisiana commercial property policies causes of loss? Basic form: A. Fire. B. Lightning. C. Vandalism. D. Earthquake. Answer: D. Earthquake. Explanation: the causes of loss. Basic form in a commercial property policy typically covers perils like fire, lightning, and vandalism, but earthquake is not covered unless added by endorsement. Earthquake coverage must be purchased separately. Reference ISO Commercial Property Policy, Causes of Loss. Basic form. Question 20. Scenario-based. Tom owns a small retail store in Louisiana and has a business owner's policy BOP. During a storm, a tree falls and damages the store's roof. The store has to close for repairs and Tom loses income during this time. Under which part of his BOP will Tom's lost income be covered? A. Business personal property. B. Liability coverage. C. Business income coverage. D. Extra expense coverage. Answer: C. Business income coverage. Explanation: Tom's business income coverage under his business owner's policy BOP will compensate him for the income lost while his store is closed for repairs due to the covered peril storm damage. Option A covers the physical property inside the business, while Option B covers third-party claims against the business. Option D, extra expense coverage, would cover additional costs incurred to keep the business operating but not lost income. Reference ISO Business Owners Policy, Section I. Property. Question 21. In Louisiana, what is the primary purpose of the Louisiana Insurance Guarantee Association, LIGA, to provide insurance coverage for high-risk individuals? B. To pay claims of insured individuals when an insurance company becomes insolvent. C. To regulate insurance premium rates. D. To offer low premiums to policyholders. Answer: B. To pay claims of insured individuals when an insurance company becomes insolvent. Explanation: the Louisiana Insurance Guarantee Association (LIGA) is designed to protect policyholders by paying claims when an insurer becomes insolvent. It does not provide coverage for high-risk individuals, regulate rates, or low premiums. Reference: Louisiana Revised Statutes, Title 22, Section 2051. Question 22. What type of coverage is typically not included in a standard Louisiana homeowners insurance policy? A. Personal liability coverage. B. Additional living expenses. C. Earthquake coverage. D. Dwelling coverage. Answer: C. Earthquake coverage. Explanation: standard homeowners insurance policies typically exclude earthquake coverage unless it is purchased as an endorsement. Personal liability coverage, additional living expenses, and dwelling coverage are generally included. Reference: ISO homeowners policy. Question 23. In Louisiana, if an insured fails to pay their auto insurance premium on time, how many days does the insurer typically have to notify the insured before the policy is cancelled? A. 5 days. B. 10 days. C. 20 days. D. 30 days. Answer: B. 10 days. Explanation: Louisiana law requires that insurers provide a 10-day notice for cancellation due to non-payment of premium. This gives the insured an opportunity to rectify the situation before the policy is cancelled. Reference: Louisiana Revised Statutes, Title 22, Section 1267. Question 24. Under Louisiana law, which of the following is true regarding health insurance policies? A. They are guaranteed renewable until the age of 65. B. A can be cancelled for any reason at any time. C. Pre-existing conditions can be excluded for up to 12 months. D. A must provide coverage for mental health services. Answer: C. Pre-existing conditions can be excluded for up to 12 months. Explanation: Louisiana law allows health insurance policies to exclude coverage for pre-existing conditions for a period of up to 12 months. Options A and B do not accurately reflect Louisiana law, and while mental health services are often covered, there is no universal requirement under all health insurance policies. Reference: Louisiana Revised Statutes, Title 22, Section 1036. Question 25. In Louisiana, under Commercial General Liability CGL policy, which of the following is not considered a covered occurrence? A. Bodily injury caused by a slip and fall on business premises. B. Damage to the insured's own property. C. Advertising injury claims. D. Personal injury claims. Answer: B. Damage to the insured's own property. Explanation: a commercial general liability CGL policy does not cover damage to the insured's own property. It covers bodily injury and property damage to third parties, as well as advertising and personal injury claims. Reference: ISO Commercial General Liability Coverage Form. Question 26. Which of the following is a requirement for obtaining a certificate of insurance in Louisiana? A. The insured must have a valid driver's license. B. The insurer must be licensed in Louisiana. C. The coverage must exceed $1 million. D. The insured must request it in writing. Answer: B. The insurer must be licensed in Louisiana. Explanation: in Louisiana, a certificate of insurance can only be issued by an insurer that is licensed in the state. There is no requirement for the coverage amount or for the insured to request it in writing. Reference: Louisiana Department of Insurance Regulations. Question 27. In Louisiana, how long must an insurer retain records of insurance policies and claims? A. 3 years. B. 5 years. C. 7 years. D. 10 years. Answer: B. 5 years. Explanation: Louisiana law requires insurers to retain records of insurance policies and claims for at least 5 years after the policy's expiration or claim resolution. Reference: Louisiana Revised Statutes, Title 22, Section 2271. Question 20. What is the minimum amount of liability coverage required for private passenger automobiles in Louisiana? A. $15,000 per person, $30,000 per accident. B. $25,000 per person, $50,000 per accident. C. $15,000 per person, $25,000 per accident. D. $10,000 per person, $20,000 per accident. Answer A. $15,000 per person, $30,000 per accident. Explanation: Louisiana law requires a minimum of $15,000 in bodily injury liability coverage per person and $30,000 per accident for private passenger automobiles. Reference: Louisiana Revised Statutes, Title 32, Section 900. Question 29. Under Louisiana law, which of the following coverages is mandated for homeowners insurance policies? A. Flood insurance. B. Windstorm coverage. C. Personal property coverage. D. Liability coverage. Answer D. Liability coverage. Explanation: Louisiana law mandates that homeowners insurance policies include liability coverage. Flood and windstorm coverage are not required and often need to be purchased separately. Personal property coverage is generally included but is not mandated by law. Reference: Louisiana Revised Statutes, Title 22, Section 1266. Question 30. Scenario-based. Jessica has a home insurance policy in Louisiana with a dwelling coverage limit of $250,000. A fire causes a total loss of her home, and the estimated replacement cost is $300,000. How much will her insurance company pay for the loss? A. $250,000. B. $300,000. C. $200,000. D. $0. Answer A. $250,000. Explanation: Under Louisiana's valued policy law, if Jessica has a total loss, the insurance company will pay the full policy limit, which is $250,000 in this case, regardless of the replacement cost. Reference: Louisiana Revised Statutes, Title 22, Section 1318.